Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Debbie Peterson. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, a Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today. You're going to be talking about a topic that I don't think we've covered in just this way, but it's so important, and that is getting clarity. Your company getting to clarity is so important, and you've also written a wonderful new book, which you're going to show people right now, Clarity, How Smart Professionals Create Career Success on Their Terms, and that is just our topic today. So many people are maybe not so happy with the job they're in, maybe the company they're in, or maybe the business they've created. And you're going to share how the key to that is clarity, to creating any success on your terms. So welcome, Debbie.
Thank you, Christina. It's so great to be here. I really appreciate you having me.
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. Well, before we go to getting into nitty gritty of what you've learned and your wisdom, let's go back to you in corporate. You started out not always being full of clarity yourself and not particularly happy back in corporate. Share a little bit of your backstory.
You know, it is, clarity was the very thing that I needed. And as a matter of fact, when I decided to pursue this, I literally woke up in the middle of the night and getting to clarity was on my mind. I ran downstairs, hopped on my laptop, the URL was available, and that was kind of the beginning of it all because, you know, it's a process. It's a journey. And what I find is that, you know, people may be, just like you explained, in a place where they're not feeling good. They're not getting ahead fast enough. They don't know what getting ahead means. They know that there's something more for them, but they don't know what that means, or they're not happy with where they're at now. The leadership may have changed and it's not a fit, or, you know, the business isn't just what they really thought it would be. And oftentimes when people find themselves in that box, they don't know what the outside looks like. And that is where clarity comes in, because, you know, you've got to name it to claim it. If you don't know what it is that you're heading towards, then how do you expect to get there? Yeah. And so, you know, that was my story in career. You know, just one of those high performing women who gets things done, who just absolutely prided myself on being the go-to person. And all of a sudden developing this feeling of there's something more for me. And I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't know how to figure it out. And that was the problem, because it's like, okay, I'm this high performing woman and I get things done. And, you know, people see this facade of what I'm putting out there, that I got it all together. And it's kind of like, nobody can know that I don't have it all together, that I don't know what I want, that I'm not satisfied. And, you know, that's part of the process too. So essentially, it led to a downhill spiral that got me to a place of negative self-talk and stress and having heart palpitations, having numbness in my left hand, not being able to sleep, you know, by the age of 40. Being on high blood pressure medicine, being on migraine medicine and anti-anxiety medicine. And I'm thinking, this is not what I wanted my life to be. I mean, I am mad, I am miserable, and now I'm a medicated woman. And that was just not in the future vision. So, you know, I hit the wall. And interestingly enough, what I discovered when I went to a training is that I was the one who was the most in my own way. I was the one who had a boatload of limiting beliefs about who I was and what I could do. And when I started figuring out that I had more control than I thought I did, then everything changed. And the biggest epiphany was that, you know, I'm not anybody special. That if I can do this, then other people can do it too. And that is what led me to starting my company, so that I could pay it forward and help other people achieve the same success.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And what's interesting, Debbie, is you don't know how many people have that same story. Me at one time, but so many people I talk to in corporate, and I don't know if it's as you get older, you just desire more potential out of yourself, and you're beginning to feel like I'm not living up to all that I have inside of me. And maybe that's why people get kind of depressed. What is your perspective on that? Why do you think that a lot of people are in corporate unhappy, but just don't really realize that they have more power than they do?
Well, and I had a conversation with a gal today. Essentially at the beginning of your career, you're figuring things out. You're trying different things. It's just, there's all possibility and potential out in front of you. But as you go along, you kind of figure out, well, I really didn't like that, or that didn't work out so well, or, whoa, I don't, that's not for me. But you do gain clarity about what it is that resonates with you, what it is that doesn't, and, kind of your way forward, but yet you stay in the same track. So then you're kind of working against yourself. You're learning this new information about you and who you are and things that align with you, that you could show up authentically and empowered in your business or your career, but yet you don't change anything. So it's kind of like you notice things, but you keep going the same direction. And that's where it becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're working against yourself. My belief is that you have everything that you need to achieve exactly what it is that you want. The goal is to figure out what is covering it up. Okay? So, it's not about...
Can I just stop you there? When you say covering it up, is it something in your everyday life? Is it mindset? Is it what's going on in your mind, or is it something outside yourself?
It can be either. The majority of the time, it's something that is internal, not external. We accumulate experiences and, negative emotions, baggage. There are circumstances and events that aren't favorable, and we react to them in a way, that we're supposed to. If we have been disrespected or wronged, or something is, somebody stole your idea or talked over you or demoted you or took the promotion that you wanted, whatever the case may be, you feel something around that, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to, and you're supposed to learn something from it so that you can take different action and get a different result. But what happens is that we hold on to emotion, and after a period of time, we kind of get comfortable with it. We start to identify with it. And that's the lens through which we look at everything, which also means that we're anchored in the past.
Interesting.
That we're focused on the past and we're not focused on the future. So, when you start out in your career, it's about discovering these things. But once you discover them, you should take different action. But when you don't, is when you find yourself kind of falling into that, okay, this is just not what I envisioned, what I wanted.
I find it interesting, like for you and for myself, how health begins to kind of give you a kick up in the pants. Like, okay, if you don't do something, I'm gonna have to give you something to play with, like some illness, so that you move differently. But it's interesting. I talk to either friends who own businesses or employees. They're still employees, and they're like, I'm not happy. Here's what I'd love to do if I could just have the dream job or the dream business or whatever it is, dream life. And I'm like, so why don't you do it? Well, I have kids, I have a husband. And it's usually a whole bunch of things they tell themselves, like, I know what I want, but it's more comfortable staying in a certain situation. Mm-hmm. So is it mindset and situation that become comfortable? And it's like, I'd rather just stay with the situation I know. This devil's better than the devil I don't know. That's
right. No, the pain of where you're at has to exceed the pain of potential change. So it has to get much more uncomfortable where you're at so that you'll consider and embrace pursuing change. Yeah. And think about it. I mean, for me, that was what I called the cosmic 2x4. There were things that I knew leading up to that. I had asked to do more. I had asked to explore things. I got the pat, and I was in a very male-dominated industry. I got the pat, and, oh, you're good where you're at. But I took that on, and I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I don't have what it takes to go to the next level. But yet that feeling wouldn't go away. There is something else.
And now share for us, what exactly is clarity, and how do you go about getting it? Because some people are like, how do I even get clear on it? And what exactly is clarity?
I want clarity. Give it to me. It's funny. Clarity is the one thing that a lot of people don't know that they need, but once they get it, they are so relieved. So why you want clarity is because it gives you purpose and direction. It allows you to make the best decisions for you. So are you chasing all of the opportunities? Or are you looking for the opportunities that are a right fit for you so that you can say yes to the things that are a right fit for you? And then conversely, you can say no to the things that aren't a fit. When you have clarity of direction, then it becomes easier because you know what it is that you're working towards. You have decision-making frameworks according to what you will pursue, what you won't pursue. You have actions to take, so you have a certain amount of certainty, which is such a relief. But clarity requires work. Clarity is not a download. I do have a magic wand. I say my magic wand is broken. And if I could, I would just wave it and everybody would have instant clarity. But clarity for you is only about you. So each person is individual, but there are 5 steps to the system that I've created to help people really get clarity on their way forward in career and life. Because, one of the things is we've got a professional life and we've got a personal life, but we're one person. But when things are going wrong in career, it kind of bleeds over into everything else. And so it starts impacting how you show up in your job. It starts impacting how you show up with your family. It starts impacting your health, which was the case for me. I mean, I turned into someone I didn't recognize anymore. So in finding clarity, what I have found that my journey and what I have applied to the audiences that I speak to in the keynotes, the system that I take my coaching clients through, is that there are 5 steps. The first of which is around mindset. And so it's a range. So 1 to 5, your mindset. 1 being you're focused on the past, things that have happened to you, things that you wake up every morning and you think about. Where is your focus? Is it more in the past? Or 5, is it more in the future? So where would you rate yourself 1 to 5? The second piece of it is how clear or how much clarity do you have on what's out in front of you in your career? So again, people spend more time planning a vacation than they think about what's in front of them in their career. 1 being, I have no clue. 5 being, I got it. I'm working in that direction. Third piece is, why do you want what you want and how clear are you on that? Because that ties into your motivation and you really pursuing what is next. When you are motivated and you are working toward something, that's a strong pull, and that will serve you well, versus you don't have motivation. So again, scale 1 to 5. Do you not have motivation, or are you really clear on what it is that you value? And you're ready to do this. The fourth piece is support. African proverb that you probably heard of. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. And that's the thing is, going back to that, well, nobody can know that I don't have it all together, that facade. That's the exact time that we need to reach out to other people, that we have to have a system of people around us that support us and that can help us get to where we want to go. And there's different ways that can look like. But when you consider the people in your career and in your life, on a scale of 1 to 5, are you thriving with these people, or are you surrounded by people who just suck the life out of you? Or the drama kings and queens, the people that they just thrive on chaos, and you get too close to it, and the next thing you know, you're smack in the middle of it. And I have lived there for a time. As a matter of fact, I would tell myself that I was good at chaos. So guess what I found a whole boatload of?
A whole bunch of
chaos, right?
Yeah.
And then, the fifth piece is how clear are you on what gets in your way? And people, until they become self-aware enough, don't know what gets in their way. They may to a certain extent, but there's another level underneath what it is. They may say, well, it's other people. But how? where are you choosing to focus your energy? So on a scale from 1 to 5, how clear are you on what your obstacles are?
Yeah.
And if you're not, then it takes some introspection and some digging to figure that out. So those are the 5 steps that, when it comes to career clarity, that are really going to help you find your direction.
Yeah, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. And it's true. For me, one of the things also that held me back is I kind of like, okay, I don't like where I am. So someone give me the quick, easy, as you say, the magic wand.
The magic wand.
Just know where I need to be, what's the best thing for me.
Just tell me.
Yeah, I didn't want to go through all the hassle. So I was working with my mentor, and she's like, well, hey, I don't know what's inside of you. You have to figure that out. But one of the things that was very instrumental, at least for me, and it was her idea, is to journal every day, which, I didn't particularly like doing, but she's like, just write. Remember what you love to do. Just write about what you like to do. What is your passion? Just write. And so I ended up writing. And one evening I heard a podcast, and this is the time where I was journaling, and something inside of me said, that's what you need to be doing. And it was really, really like, when you have that moment of super like, boom, this is it. This is where you need to be, right here.
Clarity. Yeah.
And I'm like, but what are you talking about? I don't do podcasts. I don't know anything about speaking. But I'm sure you had a similar experience. This is like, and did you have the experience where you're kind of just, no, that's crazy. I don't speak out loud, or I don't do speaking events. Did you have that happen for you?
It's funny. So you saw something and it was like, boom, that's it. I didn't have anything like that. So, I think that clarity happens for different people in different ways. I knew coming out of corporate, when I made the decision to leave corporate and start my business, that I was going to pay this forward, but I had no idea what it was going to look like. And as far as speaking, that happened accidentally. I had to get on stage for a training that I was assisting at and deliver a 45-minute segment. And for the most part, well, back then I was an introvert. For the most part now, I'm kind of the ambivert. But I was like, you've got to be out of your ever-loving mind. I'm not going to be able to do this. But it was so important to me that I did do it. And after I got off the stage, I felt like Rocky. And I thought, okay, well, there's something here, and I need to pursue it. So that, that was a cue that I needed to pursue this. Yeah. And so I did. And, the end of last year, there was something else coming up, and I needed to pay attention to it. And that has been, everything that I have built out this year to continue to support the audiences that I speak to, and to continue to work with those women who have that question mark in their brain about, well, what's my next step? Yeah. I don't know what my next step is. And that gives them anxiety or stress. And so, building out programming around that, but I had to pay attention to that feeling. And if you're not aware that you should be doing that, then you're just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to power through this. I'm going to suck it up, buttercup. I'm a strong woman, and I'll get through this. And that can be a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. But what I like about what you're saying there is that you pay attention to the cues and realize, and I'm getting something else from you too, that you actually stepped out and did something a little different. It might have been uncomfortable. You're like, I'm going to go with this, do my best and see where it goes. And had you not tried that new thing, you wouldn't even know, boom, this is where I should be. Same with the podcasting for me. Had I not gone and been like, that's crazy, whatever my thinking is saying, we'll get, but sometimes whatever you're getting that kind of pull for, if you don't go out there and just do it and try it, you don't know.
Well, if you do it and try it and you wipe your hands, then you quit. I don't know if you've ever heard this before. You got to be willing to suck. If something matters to you, if it's that important, and that, for me, that was a feeling saying, this is important. This is a way that you're going to be able to show up and help other people. So it was kind of like, okay, let's go.
Let's go. And now you're fabulous. Well, I want everyone to find out, Debbie, where they can find out more about you, get your awesome book, Clarity. How can they do that?
Sure. So to connect with me, you can go to debbiepetersonspeaks.com. And that has information about my keynoting business, but there's also a section around mentoring and mastery programs for women who are looking for those options there. You can reach me through that. For the book, you can go to Amazon. And I think there might even be a link on my site. So let's call my website the One-Stop Shop, and you can get there, that too. But I'm happy to connect with anyone who is seeking more clarity. And you can go to claritywithdebbie.com and we can chat. I'd be happy to do that to help you figure out some things.
That's great. And it doesn't matter where you are. You could be starting a business. You could be in a job that you just not quite feeling fulfilled at. But there's always something new, and you just have to go deeper and get that clarity. And Debbie here is the one to help you. So Debbie, I just have to thank you again for coming to Savvy Broadcasting and sharing your great wisdom today. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Christina. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, please share. To hear more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz tips, go to lifeunscriptedradio.com. To become a guest or participate in paid sponsorship, email us at Christina@lifeunscriptedradio.com.